Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast Slice of Life with Madhavi, featuring Young India. And today we have Abhijit and Jehan with me, who will be talking about stress. Yeah, stress. I know, right? Everybody is stressed these days. I don't think so. I have heard anyone saying, I am not stressed. So let's see how these people are dealing with stress, how they are managing it, and what can be done to de-stress. So we'll hear their introductions first, and then we'll take it ahead from there. Abhijit, would you like to go first, please?
Hello everyone, myself Abhijit. I'm currently working as a civil servant posted at Nanded district in Maharashtra as a district collector. And I have my hobbies like talking with young people through various forums or guiding and motivating them, but that is mainly limited towards civil service examinations. I think this is the first time I'm talking in a general sense with the youth. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for coming in, Abhijit, from your busy schedule. I remember working with Abhijit back in 2017, and that time also he was so supportive of ThatMate. So I thought once if I am trying to reach out to someone to talk about this topic, and I know he is so interested talking to youth, so I thought why not invite him. Thank you again for joining in, Jihan.
Hello everyone, my name is Jehan and I'm currently a student at Ruparal College in Mumbai, and my hobbies include playing musical instruments and reading novels. I love reading novels. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jihan writes for ThatMate these days. So I was very happy when I got to know that he has really good views on how things are shaping up at ThatMate. And also, I thought, why not have him on the podcast? So thank you for joining in, Jihan. So my first question is to you guys is, of course, do you guys get stressed? Abhijit, yeah, with your kind of work, I can definitely, I'm sure you must be, but yeah, would like to hear from you.
Yes, definitely. Because stress is nowadays part and parcel of our life, and see, not all stress is external stress. There is a lot of intrinsic stress also, where we expect something from ourselves, and if that result is not coming, then it is natural that we'll get stressed. So yes, it is like it is a very much a fact of life that we often get into stress, and most of the times we find out some way to get out of that stress, to manage it, to mitigate it. But then sometimes it gets out of your control, so you have to seek help from somebody. So I think nowadays it is normal. That is a harsh fact, but it is a new normal that we are inherently in a stressed mode, and when we are relaxed, that is just like an exception. So yes, we all get stressed, and especially in government service, stress is a very much a common part these days.
So बहुत बार तो मुझे लगता है so being an entrepreneur stress if you are so there are so many things going on every day, बहुत उतार चढ़ाव होते हैं दिन में, और कभी अचानक से एक दिन मुझे ऐसा लगा कि आज तो सब कुछ स्मूथ चल रहा है, तो I just get this feeling something is not right. I mean this is
Yes,
so
so
wrong.
often we get paranoid. Yes, we
Yeah,
get paranoid कि ऐसे कैसे हो गया अचानक से, everything is falling into place.
exactly. Yes, I thought ये मेरे साथ ही होता है कि एक आध दिन नॉर्मल चला गया तो लगता है वाओ बहुत अच्छा हुआ, बट दैट मीन्स कुछ तो गड़बड़ है लाइफ में. ओ थैंक गॉड, मतलब आई एम सो रिलैक्स कि ऐसा सबके दिमाग में चलता है कि अरे अगर कुछ सही हो रहा है तो कुछ गड़बड़ हो सकती है. Jihan, tell me about your days. How are they? So you are in your 18 and 19, right? You are 18 or 19 years old, as I know. So
Yes.
how it is, how the stress happens to you, I would say, and why?
So mostly these days it's much of college stress only because we have assignments that we have to submit almost every alternate day, coping up with whatever's going on in class, because these days we have exams every 2 months, and every teacher expects something out of us and they want us to perform at our best. So I feel that makes up a big part of our stress, and this stress is like very common in all students life because these days the student environment is only so competitive that everyone wants to be in front of everyone else. So this plays a major role in our lives.
Yeah, that's true. So I'll tell you, my like 10 years before or so, I used to think I'm not stressed. I don't have stress. What kind of stress do you have? And then suddenly, when I went to a dietitian or a doctor, they used to say, "Are you stressed because you are getting like your hair is graying, or these are the symptoms which we don't even know and that are causing stress to us." And that is so surprising. So Abhijit, you have given the, I guess, one of the most difficult exams in India, and there are so many aspirants who give that, take that every year. And of course, there is a lot of stress over there also. Of course, coming to the job also, there is a lot of stress. But while preparing for it, how it was, how you were as a student, how did you deal with that at that time?
During my student life, thankfully that was about 15 years back, and that was not a very competitive or a comparing type of life that time, because after the advent of internet, especially with all these social media coming up, the comparisons happen too much often, and there is a lot of analytics. There is an overkill of analytics now, that we keep on analyzing things using these data related applications. So those were basically very simple days, where the only thing we knew was to study, go to exam hall, write the exam, and then hope for some good result. So my basic strategy was, my father, he retired as a teacher, so I had a basic advantage that education or this exam system was not very new for me. But still, everybody has to face the exams. For UPSC, first thing I did was I tried to demystify the examination. As you said, and almost everybody has the same opinion, that UPSC is one of the toughest examinations, at least at our national level. So I tried to demystify it. I studied the examination papers of the last 8 years or 10 years. I appeared for the first time in 2010. So right from 2000, I studied the examination papers, and I got to know what exactly is the pattern that UPSC, the commission, asks, what exactly they want from the students. Then one advantage with UPSC is that the successful candidates of UPSC, they are like more accessible to you, because you know them. Not like other school exams, where they keep get admission into other thing and then they get busy. So I used to talk with some of the successful candidates. They also helped me to decode that examination. So first thing was to remove the fear of examination, to remove that burden. Yes, it is a difficult examination, but then it is difficult for all the 10 lakh aspirants who are writing it. It is not only for me. So if I face it in a better way, in fact, that is good for me. Another thing that I keep telling myself and others also, that if an exam is difficult, that means a student who studies well has got a better chance to clear it, rather than an easy exam where somebody can, by fluke or by luck, they can clear it. But when an exam is tough, then your hard work and sincerity, it increases your chances to clear it. So first thing was to demystify the exam, to take away that hawa of the examination, that बहुत tough exam है, इसमें कैसे होगा, because it is tough for everybody. Even somebody who is having 3 or 4 generations of civil servants, they also have to write the same examination. I also need to write the same examination. Second thing I did very deliberately and consciously was that I tried to study for the exam as such. Now what happens, we keep on reading, even for at the age of Jehan and other guys who are doing their college and school exams now. We often keep on reading the things, and then what exactly is asked in exams is something totally different. It is like, I want to become a cricketer, and I just keep on watching cricket match on television. No, I need to go on the ground. I need to get the net practice. Similarly, I need to solve practice examination. What we call those practice papers, which generally happen before the examination. Either schools or colleges take it, or you have to attend it yourself. So I focused on that part. I wrote a lot of examination papers before I actually appeared for the examination. So the proper examination, it was like just another day for me, where I could go and fully express myself. I could approach it with a cool head, and that helped me a lot. So I think that was one part which helped me in dealing with this stress, which UPSC generally gives me.
Oh, that was quite insightful, Abhijit, that you demystify the exam. You started preparing for it. You made your mind up for that कि हाँ मुझे ये करना है and this is what I have to do. So making a plan out of it. So it actually de-stresses you. So right before few days, I was also worried that being an entrepreneur, there are challenges with runway कैसा है, क्या होगा, investors आएंगे नहीं. So I actually sat with one of my mentors, and what he did was he actually helped me out. So let's reduce your anxiety. He sat with me and he was like, let's reduce your anxiety, Madhvi. First work on the channels that you already have got confirmations, and then worry about the next step. So जो अभी दिख रहा है, या जो अभी दिख रहा है, जो अभी आने वाला है, हम उस पे काम करते हैं, उसके बाद सोचेंगे बाद का. So Jehan, tell me about you, like how you guys deal with stress these days, you, your friends, how do you deal with that?
Basically, these days what goes on in colleges is group projects, right? So they do this so that first of all it helps with qualities like teamwork, cooperation, being friendly with each other. And on a second note, it also divides the stress among all the teammates so that um, one person does not get a lot of stress. So that is one very good thing, so that all students don't get that much level of stress where it is divided between some people. Secondly, so basically, as Mr. Abhijit said, the invention of internet. Now, my generation is very used to the internet, right? So even our teachers tell us that don't stick to the book, go out, explore the internet, read something from the internet. So that also creates a lot of stress, because first of all, we are reading books which are like 300 pages thick. We are preparing for that for our exam, and if a teacher is like, get out of the book and go to the internet and study, and that also puts in a lot of stress, because 300 pages is more than what we expect for exam. And on top of that, if you're telling us to visit multiple websites and go and read that also puts in a lot of stress on us. And there's one more thing where the frequency of exams and assignments and keeping up with what's going on, that is one more thing. People have to be quick on their feet, they have to cope up with everything, whatever is going on in their everyday life. And you do classes and extracurricular activities, and you have to keep a balance in between all of that. And sometimes even that plays a major role, because when you're doing a lot of stuff at one point of time, you're about to get stressed. So keeping a balance in between your time to relax and your time to actually put in a hard work, that should be perfectly balanced to reduce the stress.
Yeah, so when I and maybe Abhijit were growing up, our generation, like we were not focused too much on extracurricular. It was either padhai karo or there is nothing else than padhai. I know Abhijit is a
Right.
big fan of cricket, but I think this also happened to you, right? Padhai hi karo,
Yes,
baki
yes.
सब time pass में आता है. हाँ. So, but your generation is different, right? You have to be an influencer also. You have to be this, you have to be that. So वो सारा stuff
Yes.
कैसे handle करते हैं आप लोग? क्योंकि मुझे लगता है अगर if when I was your age and I had phone, मैं कभी कुछ नहीं कर पाती लाइफ में. I would have been like internet addict and just I don't know. I mean, how do you guys manage? मुझे लगता है कि टेक्नोलॉजी ने मुझे तो बिगाड़ दिया. Like considering I read a lot, but nowadays I read a lot on my phone, like the newspaper. I like to read in shorts more than newspaper. I know, मतलब मैं I sound like a Gen Z here, but that I guess my habits have changed so very much. पहले मैं पेपर पढ़ती थी, अब इन शॉर्ट्स पढ़ती हूँ. So like I am मतलब इम्प्रूवमेंट की जगह मेरा concentration and the way I read things have changed. I listen to Audible. I don't read books. I listen to Audible rather than reading books. So these habits have changed a lot. So how about you guys? How do you deal with that? Or are you are no? I know you are used to it, but still.
Yeah, so I feel everyone should have one thing where they can escape from. So basically, what I do is I love playing musical instruments, and I go for classes and I learn instruments. So when I go for that, I usually leave all my stress behind, because I know when I go there, I'll enjoy what I'm doing. I'm learning something, but at the same time, I'm not worried about that, because it's not something like I have to do this, I have to score well in this. It's just de-stressing, learning to play your favorite songs, listening to play your favorite songs, learning something new where your interest level is very high. So every person must have such activity, some activity where they can look at it as a fun kind of thing and not stressed about that too. And coming to the internet, this generation, yes, it spends a lot of time on the internet, especially on social media apps and such. But so what I usually do is there's something called focus mode. So whenever I want to reduce my time, I put my phone on focus mode, and mostly all notifications except for the very important ones are just ignored by the phone. And at that point of time, I just pick up a book, read a novel, or pick up my Kindle and read a book on that, or read short stories on my phone. Even that, yes, it is a part of my screen time, but it's not really stressful, right? Because it is something that I like to do, and at the same point of time, I'm doing something which is calming my mind. So the stress which is in my mind just goes in one corner of my mind and doesn't pop up continuously at that point of time.
Yeah, so channelizing your energy where you want to. So Abhijit,
Where
I
you
would
want,
like to know from
yes.
you, with the stressful job you have, how do you handle it?
No, at the nature of my job, basically, we almost say that we are basically paid to face the stress, and we have to be there for all the firefighting and all that. So normally we say that within our close groups that whenever there is a stressful day, we say that okay, this is something for which we get salaries, and then when there are some satisfactory days when we get to do something good, like the menstrual hygiene program we had in Sangli with the help of ThatMate and yourself. So that is a part of our, that is something out of like that is something except salary that gives you satisfaction. So that is one way of reinforcing yourself that okay, as a government officer, a lot of perks are there, a lot of other things are there which come with the job, positive things. Some amount of fame is there. There is a lot of social respect. So that is one thing. But on the other hand, government itself is a very huge organization, and it is all about man management here. So finally we have to focus on the HR management. We have to deal with people, and if somebody is very good in communication, formally and informally, then that helps to mitigate the stress to a lot of extent. Because in government, most of the times when there is a situation when there is some type of stress created, like for example, there is a kind of celebration going on, there is some violation of rule, and then you have to stop that celebration. So you cannot abruptly go and stop that will create some problem, and that will in turn increase your stress because we have to answer to many stakeholders there. But if we have a proper communication channel, we can go, we can just talk with those people, we can make them understand our situation. Then slowly the tempos also get diffused, and then you can execute your authority there. I think communication is the key in day-to-day working in government, where you can actually handle the stress. And then obviously the human resource management, wherein you have to understand properly how your team dynamics actually works. There are some people in your team who are very good in communication, who know what they do. In fact, there are very smart employees who know what their bosses generally hate to do, but they have to do it, and they have an expertise in that. So you can just call them, you can just ask them that you do this thing for me. You can delegate those things to them. So this is very important human management, wherein you have to know that in your team who can do which thing in a proper way. There are some people who can have wonderful soft skills. There are some people who will be having good academic skills. They can help you in the official stuff. So that again helps a lot. Internet, like Jehan was also talking, and I'm really keen to know, because this next generation, they have grown when internet had already taken over. But like yours and my generation, late 80s or early 90s, we saw that transition where internet was just something which we read in our science books, that this is a part of future and maybe after 100 years this will come, and all of a sudden it arrived. And we were all bamboozled when social media came. How you can search a friend, how you can interact online, all those things happened. But as of now, again the same challenge happens, that this internet addiction. So whenever some problem arises, I just tend to go on internet to enter that term in some search engine, and then I keep on reading and reading there itself. So that also distracts me a lot. But again, using internet internet, we can also learn some new techniques. So one good technique I learned from internet was this Pomodoro technique, which I think will help our generation more than the younger ones, which says that you have to go for a sprint, like 45 to 50 minutes. Don't look into your phone. Forget that your phone ever exists. Forget that there is anything like internet. Work. Then take a 10-minute break. Go to your phone. Do whatever you want to do. Listen a song, watch a short movie clip, maybe talk with somebody you like to talk with, and then again 45-50 minutes you continuously do your work. So these kind of techniques also help. These are like productivity increasing techniques, and they also help to de-stress to a lot of extent.
So for me, whenever I'm stressed, either what I do is I go. I'm a state level boxer, so I make sure that I'm very disciplined and I go to the gym. Punch some bag for like 10-12 minutes, and then do the most difficult exercises. If my stress level is like suppose 100 or 100, then I will do the most difficult exercises. So that de-stresses me out. So that has been my stress management techniques. And of course, time to time I talk to my counselor also. That helps me align myself, because as Abhijit said, that when you have people working with you, it is very difficult. Some people are where you have to micromanage. Some people you have to tell them and they will do themselves. Some people you have to keep pushing all the time. So it's more of an HR job than managing the bigger perspective, I would say. So that sometimes takes a toll on me. And how, like, I generally, as I said, I go and de-stress in my gym or all. So for Jihan, what is you told that of course music is that way out, but are there anything else? Is there anything else you do? And I would like to know from you, Abhijit, also.
Apart from music, I love watching movies. So yeah, I mean, of course I don't get time to watch full movies at one point of time, but I usually break it down and watch movies. And another thing is reading books. I love reading books. So every time I'm bored or I've studied for quite a long time, I just take a break and read something out, usually some fiction. Or I love Harry Potter, so I just pick up some random Harry Potter book and start reading it, or any old book which I've already read. Sometimes it's an encyclopedia or some very old novel which I find lying in my bookshelf. So those are some kinds of escapes that I use.
Thank you for that. Yeah, Abhijit.
For me, I think I have a habit which I developed in last 2-3 years, especially during the COVID times, because COVID was a very challenging time for all us people in the administration. So I started working out or exercising in the evening session. So every day after office, normally people advise that workout is the best in the morning session. But then again, for me, I found out that evening when I go to gym, or if it is not possible to go to gym, I'll just jog around a little bit. I'll try to just stretch my body, and that kind of de-stresses me. So when I come back, I'm a totally relieved person. So evening I can spend quality time with my family, I can have a peaceful sleep, and again in the morning, again the same routine will definitely follow. And second thing, I think uh, what is something which I have noticed that has helped me a lot is talking with people. Doesn't matter, it should be somebody who is an expert in that field or not. Sometimes even with somebody who is complete stranger with your problem, if you talk with them, you can just express yourself. My mother, I come and I just keep on telling her some things about administrative things. She's not much aware, she just gives a patient listening. She just comments on something which is generic, and that kind of soothes my mind, and again it re-energizes me. We have forgotten talking with our own people about issues. We think a lot about that why should I go and crib about my office job or my professional life with somebody else, because there are some friends which are working in some other field. We think that they might not relate with our problems, but then it is okay. You have to vent it out somewhere, maybe with your spouse, maybe with your parents, maybe with your siblings. Some friends are there who are very much like your family, so you can just go and vent out yourself. That actually helps a lot. No, one thing I would actually like to listen from Jehan also, because this generation, we all know that it is a very fast and pacey generation. The young generation like to get the things done very quickly in a very systematic manner, as compared to our generation, which was a bit lousy because there was no peer pressure as such. So how do you deal with comparisons? Because nowadays you just go to any social media website and you find people doing so many good things. Just you go to Instagram or Snapchat and you feel, okay, this is a great wonderful world and I am only the miserable person in that. So how do this Gen Z deal with that? That is something which always intrigues me.
I don't feel a lot of pressure when it comes to social media, because I know that whatever I'm doing, I'm giving my best, and I have my very close friends, a few of them, I know they're with me. Especially one very close friend of mine, he's so we play musical instruments, right? So even he plays the musical instruments. We just meet around, play together. It's called jamming in the musical language. So we jam together, and yes, usually you feel a little like on social media when you watch someone else play, you feel like he's a lot better than me and I've still not reached that level. But I mean, it's progress, right? You you go down the same path, you start somewhere and then you reach where you are. So it's all the same race, so you just have to keep moving forward in whatever you're doing. That's what I feel.
So from where this reinforcement comes again and again, like, because I'll tell you. So I was working with Royal Dutch Shell before, and it was a really high paying job. I was like, so I used to fly. I'm not bragging here, but I used to fly business class. And when I started ThatMate, I started traveling in a bus, like ST bus, that is very typical of Maharashtra. And my life had changed, And when I used to see my friends posting about, okay, we are now going here, we are now going there, I always used to have that, not anxiety, but that comparison. Oh, look, their life hasn't changed a bit, and look where I am right now. So I a lot of times faced, but yeah, but at the same time, when I saw the impact that we are making, or the work that the team was doing, I was reassured that I'm on the right track, and it may take time, but yeah, I'm doing something for a greater impact, or for a greater vision. So for you guys, from where does that reinforcement come? Is it like inside, or you talk to people? I usually talk to my mom, and she's like, "No, you are doing this for a betterment of the society." And then very little does she know about my work, but she will always say this. As Abhijit said, she may not know everything, but at least she will be very supportive of this. So how do these reinforcement come to your mind?
Usually it's a lot of support. So I remember back in 2016 or 17, when I was in school, I was in the 7th standard, if I'm not wrong. And my music sir at that time in school told me, you should join the school band because you have a lot of knowledge of music and you'll be very good at it. And it was something which was very new, and at that time I didn't know if I should do it or not. And at that time, everyone is really focused into academics, right? Because you're in the 7th standard and all that, academics is a major part. So at that time my family was very supportive. They were like, your sir is like, you can be very good at this, so go for it, don't be scared about it. And then these days when it comes to comparisons, I mean, comparisons are a part of everyone's life, but then you should know that okay, they are doing something, but even I'm doing something, right? If they are better at something, I'm better at them, but I'm better as compared to them in something else. So at that point of time when I'm better, they are low, and the scales keep on shifting at that time, right? So I mean, yeah, that's what keeps us going. But of course, when you're comparing yourself to someone, you want to be ahead in that race. You have to keep working hard so that at one point of time you match them and then you cross them to go ahead.
Talking so the question to you is, you said that the times of COVID were really stressful to you. So how did you handle that stress? And also, uh, when people used to came to you with their stressful situations, how did you deal with that?
First and foremost thing in COVID was basically getting oneself acquainted with the medical science issues related to COVID, because COVID, as we know, it was a health hazard. It was a issue from medical science, and in administration, all of we come from different backgrounds. So first thing, our bosses ensured that we got to know about the exact scientific basis of COVID and other things. And then after that, it was all about managing people. Doctors were doing their job quite well. They just needed some support from administration. And then there was a lot of public health issue wherein we had to ensure different restrictions, wherein we had to ensure that people wear masks, they do not roam outside unnecessarily. So with all that required proper communication, we had to go on Facebook live, we have to talk to the press regularly, and explain to them that okay, this is the issue. We don't want to keep anybody in home, but this is a very serious emergency issue and we have to do some things. So that helped a lot. And then again, I still remember one day it was very tough. It was that oxygen crunch wala time when we had to struggle really hard for oxygen, for medicines. And that day, after a very hectic day, around at 9:30 in the night, I saw one elderly man standing outside my chamber. And when I asked him, what do you want, whether you want some bed in some institution or medicine, he said, nahi, mera wo ho gaya. My 28-year son was admitted yesterday in medical college, and thanks to your administration, we got a bed there, and now he's okay, he's recovering. I just came here to thank you. And that was like a very touching moment for me. He wrote it on a paper in a very rural and vernacular Marathi, and that paper still I carry in my pocket regularly, because that motivates. So during these tough times, we need some kind of ray of hope wherein we can derive energy from, and that actually keeps on motivating us.
Yeah, single ray of hope changes everything for us. Similarly, when we work with ThatMate and when we hear some testimonials from our kids that, oh, we are doing some phenomenal job, or even if their parents talk to us, or if they come to us for counseling, we are able to help them. I think that is like a fresh air of breeze for us. Like it really helps, it keeps us motivated. So Jihan, tell me about like how, if there are your friends, like as Abhijit said that there were people who used to come to him, and they, when they're stressed, and there were sessions like they come every Monday and Thursday. So when friends come to you to get advice, how do you deal with that? And of course I would like to know from Abhijit also, how does he deal with so many problems coming in? Because I get flustered a lot of times that I have so many things on my plate. I get overwhelmed because, yeah, of course, I'm not a good listener like maybe Abhijit. So, yeah, I would like to learn from you both.
So, usually, whenever any friend comes to me, they just look for a listener, right? Because these days, because there's a lot of stress, people just want to unload whatever they have in their minds, and at that point of time, you can just be a very good listener where you listen to them and they feel lighter after they speak about it. So a very recent situation which is going on right now is that many of my friends are gonna appear for 12th standard board exams in 2 days. They're starting from Tuesday, and so they're gonna give a board exam for the very first time because their 10th standard board exam was cancelled due to COVID. And most of them are stressed that board exam hai. This is a very important exam, it's going to be with me for the rest of my life, so I have to study well and do this and do that. So whenever they want to talk, you should just be a good listener, because even those 10-15 minutes where you talk to them, after you talk to them they just feel lighter. So even that 6 hours or 7 hours of continuous studying, they just talk to some person, a good close friend, and they are relaxed and they can get back to studying. They can concentrate well instead of just sitting in front of the book and going through pages and pages of written material. Those 10 minutes really freshen up your mind, and being a good listener can be a major part of it might just be listening to you, but indirectly you're helping a lot to the person who's speaking, because that person trusts you and they can just feel lighter and feel better when they're done talking.
So yeah, Abhijit, from you, of course, how you have become such a good listener, first of all, and second, what is your advice for people who are taking their boards after 2 days, just in 2 days, I would say.
See, in government, basically, it is a prerequisite that you have to be a good listener. You may not be a good talker and still you can survive, but not a good listener, that is difficult, almost impossible. People come out there and they vent their grievances, they vent their complaints. There are a lot of talk going on daily. And again, 25 to 30% people just want to come there and express themselves. They just want to vent it to somebody who is in authority. They also know that some problems are not going to be solved at district level. The solutions are in maybe in Delhi, maybe in Mumbai, or maybe there is no solution at all. So that skill we have to develop. During my first tenure, when I was posted at Nandurbar, I had cut off time of about say 40-45 minutes. After that, I would say, okay, now I am overwhelmed with listening, I need a break. But slowly with experience, that time went on growing, and now I can hear up to 3 or 4 hours, or even more than that, on continuous, that people come on, keep on putting up their problems, and there is some kind of guidance given, or at least an assurance that okay, I'll look into it, or I'll forward it to concerned authorities, and people are happy with that. Only sometimes it happens that the problem presented is totally off track, totally irrelevant. Like a guy who sat for dharna before my office because he was not happy with whatever was going on in US presidential elections. So now we cannot do anything about that. We just convinced him, but still he was adamant. So we said, okay, now we will leave it to you only, because that is not something that we can do, or what you can do about that. So, except those situations, I think it is a nice experience. It is like an OPD of a doctor, where people will come in and tell their problems, and you have to give them some kind of solutions. That becomes a major part of job. I think about the board exams, I would like to advise the students, and I also have an advice for the parents also. For students, I would say that board exam is definitely one big part in your life, 10th or 12th. It is a mark in our life, but it is not everything. It is not the end of life, definitely. There are a lot of people who have not done well in their board exams, but they are great in their own lives now. I know a lot of people personally. Some of them are great lawyers, some of them are great chartered accountants, some of the artists, some of the players who were having a very bad board exam. And on the other hand, we have reverse examples also, people having excellent academic records struggling in their life. So this thing we need to mark, that 10th and 12th is not really the end of life. It is not the final frontier. Rather, it is just one part of our journey. And nowadays, anyhow, we have competitive examinations, and this generation especially is blessed to have such a great fluidity in career. You can have your 12th in science, you can get a degree in commerce, then you can move to management or finance. So that is a very good thing for this generation. Like our generation, we had a set pattern. There was one track, and it was like a train which will not move out of the track. But now you guys are literally having aeroplanes, you can go everywhere. So that is something you should take care of, that okay, if you are not having a great 10th or 12th board exam, you can cover it up with some other competitive exam. If somebody gives me a time machine, I will like to fly back, and then only change in my life will be I'll study less, I'll play more, maybe I'll indulge in art more. But now I know that okay, whatever I studied, maybe that was also not required. Some marks here and there in 10th and 12th wouldn't have mattered, because anyhow now I don't even remember how many marks I got in my 10th or 12th examination, and it is such a big issue when you are in that stage. So that is something we have to take care of. And for parents, I would say, uh, see, when a student is fearful of exams, he is either fearful of his or her teachers or the parents. Teachers, okay, we can understand, teachers are not going to stay with them throughout the life. But if they fear you as parents, then that is a big problem. So as a parent, everybody must make sure that their wards, their children are comfortable, uh, make them talk. And as a student also, I would advise all the kids who are going to exam that you start talking with your parents. They might get a bit disappointed, they might scold you, they might get angry, but at least they'll know what you are going through. So if you are feeling uncomfortable, tell them that okay, maths wala nahi ho raha hai, I'm trying my best, but still it is not coming out. Maybe they'll, most of the times they'll help. They might get upset with you, but they'll try to help you in some way or the other. So I think here also communication is the key, and keeping parents in loop is very important. They can be your great support system if they are on your side, and you cannot miss out on that support system.
Yeah, I totally second with that because I have like the most supportive parents. So when I got when I chose petroleum engineering, when everyone was choosing computers, my parents were like, whatever you want to do, you do. I chose computer engineering. I chose petroleum engineering because I knew that after 4 years I'll get a job. And similarly, whatever choices I have made till now, they have given me total independence and they never questioned my choices. And even the entrepreneurship, like leaving a well paid job and then getting into something that was not even heard of. So they have supported me and they have given me choices, like they have always had a faith in my choices. So I guess parents play a very important role over here. So thank you both of you for joining us today. And I would say people who are stressed or people who are struggling with managing parents expectations, please talk to your parents, talk to them. And if you are stressed, find a friend who can listen to you. Talk to a counselor if you are very much stressed, because they will help you definitely. And yeah, from my side I will try to be a good listener. What we'll do is we'll go for a rapid fire round now. I'll go with Abhijit first, and then Abhijit, if you want, you can drop off the call as well. So
Sure.
yeah, so describe yourself in a hashtag.
Hashtag composed.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited you are about your life?
I would say 8 out of 10. Too much excitement is also not a good thing. 8 is decent.
It is recent, yeah. um, what is a current OTT obsession you have? Of course, considering the time you have to watch.
Actually, I don't binge watch on OTT much, but now I'm trying to find out time to go for Fuzzy.
Great, great. And I'm waiting for Family Man 3, so yes.
That's next on my list.
So, which is your favorite app, Abhijit?
Twitter.
Twitter. Okay. And what is the
Because
best?
Twitter is nowadays my newspaper. It is my cricket score updater, and there's everything on the world on Twitter in very less words.
Yeah, I hope not because of Elon Musk, though. Okay, that was it.
Not really.
So, the best way to chill for you, watch cricket?
No, just relax with my family.
Okay, that's great. That's great. One thing that comes to your mind when you hear the words periods,
Natural.
depression,
Can be dealt with.
relationships,
Efforts.
exams,
Part of life.
social media,
Necessary evil.
India.
Great.
And one thing that you like about ThatMate app.
About ThatMate app, I think ThatMate app is very much kids friendly. So whenever you are dealing with an age group which is exposed to a lot of animated things, and they are much into social media, they are into gaming and all kind of animations, so it is very important to cater to that issue also. So I think that is where ThatMate scores 10 on 10. And as an organization, what I like the most, because as a CEO Zilla Parishad in Sangli, we worked with ThatMate on menstrual hygiene and sexual education. So that is where I notice the kind of approach you have, the way you take that issue heads on. Those were the days where people were not very comfortable talking about sanitary napkins and periods and other things. So that is one really sad part of our society. We talk openly about cigarettes and liquor and all bad things, but we don't really want to utter words like napkin or contraceptives or condoms in general. So the way you dealt that issue absolutely head on, so that was also inspiring for us in government, that we also started thinking that way. Okay, when some young people like say Madhavi and her team, they can do it this way, we will also go fully ballistic, and we actually reaped a lot of awards for that approach. So that is one thing I really appreciate about ThatMate.
Yeah, thank you, Abhijit, for joining in. Maybe we can also work with you at Nandurbar and see, because now the app is there, it is scalable and everyone can use it. So maybe we'll talk about it more. And thank you for joining us here. Yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you and meeting you after such a long time.
Same here. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, Jishan, rapid fire for you. Rapid fire questions. Actually, this is totally copied from Coffee with Karan name because I really did not know what name I could come up with. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited you are about your life right now?
7.
7. Okay. One thing people don't know about you.
I can be a very good writer.
Okay. What is the one thing that you are mastering right now?
Uh, I'm trying to master the keyboard, the piano.
And describe yourself in a hashtag.
Hashtag cheerful.
Cheerful. Okay. If now you have to tell me the songs for these situations. Okay. A breakup song.
Glimpse of us.
Whenever you are happy.
It's a wonderful world.
Whenever you are sad.
Khamoshia.
Cool. And skill that you are mastering right now. I think we spoke about it. And
Yes.
Sundays are incomplete without.
My music playlist.
So thank you both of you. It was yeah, one thing you like about ThatMate app. I don't know why I'm in a hurry.
The app. So this generation is more towards games and animations and stuff. So the app uses those animations to create gamified stories and those comics, and of course it focuses on the main issues, and that's what the app is about. But it also focuses on how to attract the users of the app, which also plays a very important role. So I feel the app is kind of trying to understand the mindset of the students. So that is a very good thing about the app.
Cool. Thank you so much for the feedback. And thank you both of you for joining. I had like candid discussions over here. And Abhijit, thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule. I know, I guess you only get a Sunday with your family and still you are here with us. So thank you for being here. And Jihan, yeah, we'll keep talking. I guess there will be other topics that I'll invite both of you. And yeah, thank you so much once again.